Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another Minecraft video, and in this one we're going to be asking a very simple question. How far can you ender pearl in Minecraft? Now this is without using any slime blocks or any TNT or anything like that. I just want to see how far the player can throw that green gelatinous ball up into the sky. So we're going to be testing out various different angles here to see which one's the best, and let's see what the results are. So I started things off with a relatively quick and dirty test. One ender pearl thrown at a 5-degree increment starting from 20 degrees going up through to 50 degrees. Now if I were a betting man I would have placed all of my money on 45 degrees, but I have to say I was actually quite surprised by the results. 20 degrees of course started really quite low, and then the figures start increasing up until we hit 40 degrees. Then they began to drop off at 45 and then plummeted down at 50. Really quite surprising. So with a really quite obvious and very pronounced peak at 40 degrees, I thought it was about time that we did some proper testing to make sure that that wasn't just a freak result. So I did 5 throws from 30 degrees all the way up to 45 just to do a bit of extra testing. Here are my results. So first up, a 30-degree angular throw came in considerably lower than the rest of the results. And I know this was probably to be expected, but I thought I would just test it out anyway, just in case it came up with a few surprises. But unfortunately, no, that wasn't the case. In fact, it came so much lower than the rest of the results that it wasn't even worth calculating a proper average, but I'd say it was around about 50.5 blocks travel. Its slightly bigger brother 35 degrees, however, came in really quite nicely, with a 52.931 blocks travelled. Now that's really quite impressive, and it was made up of some really good results. They ranged from around about 52.5 to around about 53.5, so that's a pretty good error margin. Now onto the angle that gave the biggest result in the first set of tests. Was that just one big result that we randomly got? The answer is unfortunately yes. This time we managed to average 52.889 blocks travelled, which is actually slightly less than the result that we got for 35 degrees, but the results seem to vary quite a bit. From 52.3 all the way up to 53.7 blocks travelled with one ender pearl. And finally, what did my personal favourite manage to score? Well, it was actually considerably less than the other ones. We averaged 52.170 blocks, with throws coming in from 52.7 blocks all the way down to 51.4 blocks. That's not particularly brilliant, especially because I put all my money on that one. Really not happy about that. Now unfortunately, the conclusion that we can take from this video is just a tiny bit of a boring one. I personally would suggest throwing your ender pearls at around about 35 to 40 degrees. That would be my suggested band of throwing, but to be quite frankly honest with you, you can't go too far wrong. I mean, as long as you're not throwing your ender pearls directly into the sky or straight down into the floor, they're not going to be too much shorter than even the longest ones. I mean, you saw all of the results. The longest throws were around about 3 blocks longer than the shortest throws, which means that realistically the angular throwing doesn't seem to make too much difference with ender pearls, which I suppose is a very boring conclusion indeed. But hey, that's science for you. Occasionally you do tests and experiments and things like that, and the results aren't quite as exciting as you first expected. But unfortunately that's all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please sure to hit that like button. If you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching guys, this has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.